You guys were singing different harmonies. That was beautiful.
We practiced it.
Practice is important. Being able to sing is important too. That was great. Hi, everybody. I'm home. Don't get too excited. I'm in Florida next week. But summer's all, moving through, and then I'll be here much more regularly. But thank you for indulging my absence when it happens. We're winding up 6 years of leadership, and it's feeling really good anytime I get to be home, even when our house is totally torn up because we're redoing our floors. Yep, it's all good. It's good to see you. This is lovely. What did I want to talk about today? Let's see. Oh yeah, what are you learning? So I want to start with a question to you. I want all of you to think back on when you first found Science of Mind, when you were first introduced to this teaching. Some of you, it's maybe relatively new, so that's okay. Just whenever, whether it's last week or 25 years ago or whatever it is. Think about where you were in your life when you found it. Think about what the biggest issue was in your life when you found it. Got it? Okay. How you doing on that issue? Is it handled? Good. That's the point, because Holmes said that we would be liberated from all of the things in our lives through the science, through the learning and practice of the science of mind, that all discord would leave us. Well, my guess is we're all still working on something. But it's good to know that we made a little progress from the beginning, and if you're still working on the same issue since when you found this teaching, maybe it's time to assess your strategy. Regardless of whether you handled that and your life is working out, I'm imagining yours was relationships. Well, it was. I've heard the story enough times to know that was a big part of what was going on in Barbara's life, but I'm not here to talk about Barbara's life, so I won't stay there. And she's in a really good relationship now, so I would just stay home for a while. All the same, we're always faced with things to work on in our lives. When I was just at the International New Thought Alliance 102nd Congress in Phoenix, and at that I met some great people, and I spoke about my book, The Sorry Syndrome, and explained to people that our job is to learn from the challenges in our lives, to learn from our missteps. Let's start there. That we make missteps in our lives. We say things or do things that don't automatically work out, and that at that moment, our job is to learn from that so that we don't have to go through that again. We're all doing that all the time, but it's not just our missteps, it's any of the challenges of our lives. Challenges around our health, challenges around our money, challenges around our relationships, and challenges around our careers or what we bring to life. There's challenges in life. Now, there's two ways to have challenges. One way is to have it just show up and you go, wow, why do I have to deal with this? Then you want to go run into a practitioner and say, make it go away. And a practitioner can actually do that, can actually support you in changing the condition of your life. The challenge is if you don't learn from that challenge, then what's going to happen is it's going to come back. It may come back exactly the same, or it may come back and look a little different, but be basically the same challenge. So going to a practitioner is very helpful in the moment, but you have to change your consciousness. You have to expand on your understanding of who you are if you're really going to overcome that and have that not be something glaring you in the face, because everything that's going on in your life, whether it seems quite surprising to you or you consciously created it, is there to show you who you are, to demonstrate your divinity so that you can know who you are. It's like when we walk on fire, which we did a couple of weeks ago. Why do we do such a crazy thing? I almost said stupid. Why do we do such a thing? Because when we get on the other side of the fire and we've done it, we go, wow, I did it. I actually overcame something that many people would say is impossible, and many people would not even be willing to consider trying. I got on the other side of it. I must be able to do more than I thought. And coming out of that, you really have learned something, and you have something that you can apply. Now, we don't always want to create artificial things to do that with. What we want to do is, instead of having challenges that just show up, we want to put more energy into creating challenges. But before I get to that, I want to introduce you to a couple of people that I met at INTA that had those kind of challenges show up in their life. Both of them were health challenges. Let me introduce you to these people. Let's see if I remember how to work this thing. Yes, I do. This is Reverend Gregory Geis. He's the senior minister of the Detroit Unity Temple. Excellent speaker. What a dynamic man. We were so blessed to have him at INTA this year. His story is that he was supposed to be a speaker at INTA last year, but he couldn't come because in March he had a major aneurysm burst in his skull, which caused him to have a stroke. So he had this incredible bleed in his brain from a burst blood vessel, and then he was a stroke victim, as they say. His left side atrophied to where his arm was up, clutched at his chest. He couldn't speak properly. He was really in an awful place. They thought he was going to die, but they managed to get the surgery and stop the bleeding and stabilize him. And then they just had this person that was experiencing all these severe stroke symptoms. And he said, he understands truth principles. He understands what it is we teach in New Thought. He's laying in a hospital bed. All he can do is work on healing his body. I mean, occasionally they would get him up and force him to do some kind of movement to try to help move his limbs and get him to retrain his mind or his brain to do this. The rest of the time he was laying in bed. And he said, what else am I going to do? I'm going to know the truth about myself. I'm going to know again and again and again that my body functions perfectly, exactly as it was designed to function. And what I want to tell you is, in July of 2018, 2017, a little over a year after this happened, the man shows no signs of a stroke at all. Nothing. If that's in Reverend Gregory, it must be in everyone. He's not a special human being better than the rest of us. So him being able to do that just was stunning to me. That says to me, and this doesn't make anybody wrong if they experience a stroke and don't fully recover from it. I'm not making them wrong, that's their path. But the choice is there to actually do something about it. Now, did he plan on having an aneurysm and a stroke? I doubt it. I see nothing of that was his plan, but that's what happened. So he took that and he learned at a much greater level who he was as a spiritual being in a physical body. And he used that knowledge to shift his life to something that he still has his body and he still has his understanding, and now he has a story to tell that is so inspiring and amazing. That he actually gained something of great value through the process that he can share with others. I was deeply moved by his story. So I want to thank Reverend Gregory Geis for his wonderful teaching. Another speaker at INTA this year was Reverend Dolores Voorhees. Reverend Voorhees is a senior minister at Hillside International Spiritual Truth Center in Atlanta, Georgia. That's the center that Dr. Barbara King, actually her name now is Bishop Dr. Barbara King, founded in the Atlanta area. And Dr. Barbara's still around, but a great bit of that work falls upon Reverend Dolores to run and manage this very big center, this very big spiritual community in Atlanta. And her work, obviously, is to keep everything working, to be in control, to take care of all the activities of that center. Well, last year she had a doctor's appointment. She went, she had a regular annual physical, got checked out. Doctor said, you're in perfect health. Great. She went home. This was on a Wednesday. On Friday, she had abdominal pain. And she didn't know what it was. And she said it kept getting worse. But she said she went home and she got in bed. And a couple people checked on and said, it's painful, but I'm just working through it. And she stayed in bed until Monday, when finally she went to the emergency room to find out that she had a ruptured appendix. I know, for 4 days the woman had a ruptured appendix and was receiving no medical support around that. And if you know what that means, it means that her entire body was saturated with toxins and bacteria. And that will kill most people. You know, if left untreated, that usually would create death, which apparently it didn't, because she came and spoke at INTA. But she said that they were expecting her to pass, and when she didn't, it took them actually from late summer to November to get her stable enough to actually remove her appendix. I know. During that time, she just worked on her body, and she said that they were constantly taking blood to see where her bacteria levels were, but that over time she was stable enough that they took the appendix out. She's again in perfect health. She's doing great, but that was her process of learning how to surrender, because her life was about being in charge, about handling everything. So that was her work, is to realize that there are times when, being the great and powerful spiritual beings that we are, that it's time to surrender and just let it all go. Another speaker that spoke to us at INTA, the minister at the Unity Church in Phoenix, forgive me, it's going on a video and I can't remember his name right now, but his whole talk was about life being a process of knowing what to hold on to and what to let go of. And I thought, wow, that's just perfect, because when I present this idea of the sorry syndrome, I'm asking everyone to let go of something that they cling to in many cases. So in life, there's this balance of figuring out what to hold on to and what to let go of. And that was so powerful to me. It was so helpful to know that we're all on that journey of holding on to what works and letting go of what doesn't, and really being able to distinguish between the two and know what it is that we're supposed to do in our life to make our lives work best. So back to this idea of challenges. These two people that I've shared with you, their challenges popped up suddenly, and they had to deal with them. And out of them came great learning, great understanding about their lives. And you can do that. And those things will happen from time to time. They are not our enemy. Anytime something happens, it is not our enemy. It is there to show us who we are. But it's still our job to rise above the condition, to rise above the challenge that we're faced with. Now, another way to manage our lives is to not wait for the challenges to just happen to us, but actually create some challenges of our own. To step into a greater life by being willing to step up and know who we are. There's always something to learn. There's always something out of our experience in life that we can become enlivened and enriched by. Often it's something that we're not really looking forward to getting into. All this idea that I should have a challenge-free life, that everything in my life should be easy always, is unreasonable. It's illogical. The challenge is what gives us that edge to grow in. The question is, well, are we willing to challenge ourselves? And I'm going to talk about Barbara again for a second. One of these days I should get permission. There are times when Barbara says, I'm so tired of all this that has to be done. But Barbara's the one that's creating those things, and out of them comes this amazing spiritual community where we have amazing music because we have David and his crew. We have amazing sound. We have amazing connections that would not have happened if Barbara didn't do what she does every single day. So I love you, and that you're willing to do all those things. And I know that much of that is of your own doing, if not all of it. And out of it comes this amazing outcome that we all benefit from. And many of you volunteer your time here and your energies here. You come here and you do things, and you make this place work. Someone came and made bread this morning, didn't they? Yes, they did. Somebody was out watering plants yesterday. Came over and took care of making sure that the latest things that were planted got water. There's all kinds of, I could go on and on. I could look around this room and see all of the things that all of you do that add to this and contributed to this. And by doing that, you enrich your life and you're part of a community that works. That's what we do. We make these efforts in life. They're not all easy. They're not all even fun all the time, but we do them so that we can have the life that we choose to have. And that's what we're looking for. That's the outcome we want. So in the midst of these challenges that we have, what's so important is how we address them, how we move forward in our life with the challenges that we have. Those of us that immediately want out of the challenge, that want some practitioner or some minister to just take it away, are missing the opportunity. There's something wonderful happening. But it doesn't get that wonderfulness to it if we don't participate at a high level in experiencing it. Here's an example. Every Christmas, we say that line to one another. We look into one another's eyes and we say, the Christ in me honors the Christ in you. And that's lovely that we can see it in this person as we're passing the light on Christmas Eve. It's beautiful, it's elegant. But can we see the Christ in us? Do we live from that perspective of life? That we are the Christ? That's the persona that we're called to know from within ourselves? Or do we see ourselves as somewhat less than that? If we see ourselves as less than that, and then something happens, some challenge shows up, we're suddenly dealing with it from that lesser position, as a victim, as someone who has to struggle, as a person that must face hardship. You hear the story of Jesus of Galilee. You know that man suffered at the end of his life. Yet he did it very consciously. He wasn't surprised by it. He wasn't a victim when they came and arrested him. It wasn't pleasant, it wasn't fun, but as the story goes, great value came out of it. And millions upon millions of lives have been touched because of this man's willingness to go through what he went through. Obviously, his true value was in what he taught, but he was willing to go the course. Not suggesting that all of us need to be crucified. Not even close to that. But we will have challenges. And how we address them is important. And a value here is to know that the Christ that you are is the one that can support you through whatever is happening, whatever hardship, whichever physical challenge, relational challenge, financial challenge. It's how we perceive ourselves that carries us through. And that is what we're here to learn. And if things continue to happen, like I said with this original conversation, if you're still looking at the same issues you were when you found Science of Mind, you need a new strategy, and that's having a new perception of yourself. Knowing that you are the one that has the answer. If you're looking for an answer in your life, the only way that you will ever find the answer is by being the answer. It's already there. We sing it in our songs. We sang it this morning. It is true. It already lies within us. And it's called by that challenge before us to awaken. That's what we're being asked to do, is to wake up to who we are and to live from that place. Plenty of people do it. And they probably don't do it with the idea that they are the Christ, but they do with the idea that they really are able to address the challenges of their lives in healthy and effective ways. So let's look at how we would do that. This is from Holmes in Living the Science of Mind. He brings forth the idea that the practitioner's job is to uncover the changeless and eternal perfection of the one that is before them. So the practitioner sees that person who comes to them, who usually sees themselves as somehow broken or incomplete. The practitioner's job is to see that person as changeless and eternal perfection. That's the job of the practitioner. Now, we use spiritual mind treatment, certainly, but Holmes gives us another insight that I find fascinating, and he's talking to practitioners. He says that these are some examples of the ways that you can do this, through reasoning, logic, argument, affirmation, denial, or realization. It doesn't matter, he says, what methodology you use. Your job remains to find the changeless and eternal perfection of the one before you. We are all our own practitioner. So it's our job to see the perfection of our lives as changeless and eternal, always there, meaning that we can handle anything. It doesn't matter. We don't necessarily know how to handle that before us, but we know that we know, and that we will become conscious of that in our world. So instead of going, oh my God, I don't know what to do, all is lost, we do go, no, something is being revealed to me right here. And I'm going to pay attention, and I'm going to learn from it. And when I do, it'll go away, because it'll be handled. Because I will have gotten the lesson, which is the point. Now, in the same area of the book, Living the Science of Mind, where Holmes says this, he gives this great example. He says, imagine a vat of garbage. And somewhere in that is a diamond ring. Does it really matter by what means and methodology you get rid of the garbage to get to the ring? Does it matter? Is the ring any less valuable or more valuable by the method of getting rid of the garbage? Of course not. It doesn't matter how you do it, whether it's by reasoning, logic, argument, affirmation, denial, or realization. Any of those methods will work. They'll work just fine. Your job is to get rid of the garbage and to find the diamond. Isn't that a brilliant idea? I mean, doesn't that really say how we are to live our lives? Because we all have garbage. We all have internal questioning. We have uncertainty about ourselves. We question whether we really have it within us to do. That's the garbage. The idea is get rid of the garbage and find the essence, which is changeless and eternal perfection. That's what we're here to find. That's what will guide us in our lives to be who we've come here to be. It doesn't matter how you get there. Just get there. That's the point. That making sense? So when the garbage shows itself to us with a questioning or a confusion or a fear, what is ours to do? To not accept that. Just don't accept it. Remember who we are. We're the presence of the divine, the one power and presence in the universe, the perfect, endless, ageless, unquestioned wholeness of life. That is who we are. And when we come to life from that place, everything works out. That's when Holmes says, turn away from the condition and toward the truth. Know the truth of who you are and dispel all of that other stuff. It may be your lesson, and it's a good lesson, whatever it is, and let it be your teacher by understanding there's something greater to know. And when you do, that great wall that stands between you and the life you want will fall into rubble, and you can just walk over it. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that good to remember when these things happen to us? Because they do. The last thing that I want to share with you here is something many of you have heard. It's been said that it was Goethe that wrote it, but that's not actually true, maybe partially true, but it is a powerful statement, and I want you to listen to this and maybe even read to yourself as I read it to you. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, that ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidences and meetings and material assistance, which no one could have dreamed would have come their way. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So your job, faced with a challenge, is to make a commitment to know who you are. That's my job too, to make that commitment. And if I'm going to have a challenge in my life, I'm going to choose it. It's going to be my choice. I'm going to pick the destination that I want in my life. And I'm going to focus my attention and my energy and everything that is mine toward that outcome. And that outcome is assured when I do that. because my commitment creates opportunity. Will it be easy? No, not necessarily. Will it be worth doing? Yes, because it will remind me again. It will call me again to remember who I am, that I am the presence of the divine on planet Earth, living this exquisite life of love and possibility, that I do touch people's lives in a powerful way. So do you. You may not get up on a stage and speak all the time, but your life is about touching other lives in meaningful and powerful ways. And I invite you to make that your commitment to the challenges of your life, that they be your challenges chosen consciously as much as possible to reveal that presence within you, to be who you have come to be, to open up to all the possibilities of life. No one is done. If you were done, you wouldn't be here, but here you are. And together we move forward in this. We believe in it together. We work together to create these outcomes. And life keeps getting better and better. Have you noticed? So let's keep doing it, okay? I love you very much.
John.
Oh, you're welcome.
So INTA has been around 104 years, 102 years. Thomas Troward started that organization, didn't he? Wonderful, wonderful. Our welcomers are here. Who is here for the very first time? Raise your hand, be bold, let us welcome you. Welcome, 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 welcome. Anybody over here? Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Asheville. What a great idea you had coming here today, because this is a place where our lives get better and better and better. And just by being in this room, something changes. It's a vibrational thing. We awaken. We get a greater reality, a greater possibility, and things come from that. So I'm very happy that you decided to come here today. The person welcoming you, Selena, has a card for you. If you want to give us your name and address, we will let you know what's happening here. And if you just want email, check email only, and we'll put you on our email list and get our weekly newsletter. But I just think this is a fantastic place. I really do. John was just with people from New Thought communities all over the world, and I think ours is the best. I do. I think we are the best. Not that they can't be the best too. They can. There's plenty of bests to go around. But I think we have something extraordinary here. So I'm glad everybody came today. And now I'd like to invite our prosperity acceptors to come forward, take out what you're going to give. And I want to thank you for all of the many different ways you give. I know that some people put money in the Sunday baskets, but other people do it differently. And so for those of you who are part of our auto giving plan, or have your banks send in checks, or go to PayPal on a regular basis and donate, or go out to the social hall and use the donation station, or many of the myriad ways that you give to this center, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your generous giving to this center today and every day. I'm truly grateful. We're doing great. We're just doing great. And it's all because we have such a solid foundation. So I like to open my hand, put the gift on it, put my other hand on top, and bring it to my heart, where I absolutely know that God is the source of all supply, that money is a spiritual idea, that there is a flow in and out and back to us in life. And so we jump into that flow wholeheartedly. We give this gift today, knowing that each one of us comes together to make this center the amazing place that it is, a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom that touches the lives of all who call it home. And we'll repeat our investment affirmation together aloud. I freely and joyously give from the abundance of my overflowing wealth, knowing my gift goes with love as it touches and blesses the world. And so it is.